This double-coated Sheltie has a serious amount of impacted undercoat. What you're about to learn is going to change how you handle undercoat forever. Let's get to it. This is Penny, and I can see this undercoat's going to need a little help to get it to release. It's just hanging in her coat. I'm not at all intimidated. I have a lot of experience with this coat type, and I know I can get her to looking like this in a couple of hours. The key to safe deshedding and effective deshedding is tool choice. These are non-sharp tools. This is a rotating teeth comb. It helps to release undercoat. A slicker brush is a must, absolutely. And deshedding rakes, the V-rake, the Sure Grip deshedding rake. These are all non-sharp tools, but they are the most effective because they'll remove the coat that needs to come out. They're not going to force out good coat, which could definitely compromise the coat if we forced undercoat out, if it wasn't ready to be released. So right now, before I start shampooing her, you can see that I am starting to encourage the undercoat away from the skin. That's very important. It gets packed in there from her sitting and laying on it. It gets packed. It's already shed out. It just needs to come out. Think of it as we're kind of aerating her coat right now before the shampoo. That way the shampoo can get into the skin so it can do its job. However, I'm not going for deshedding tools yet. I will use the slicker brush for the most part of this groom. A firm, flexible slicker brush in the tub, that's important for grabbing the coat without pulling on the skin. See, that's the secret of the slicker brush. After she's dry, I'm going to switch over to my Kenchi slicker brush. And you'll learn why a little further on in this lesson, why I have two slicker brushes that are playing a role in this deshedding video. And don't worry, I will link every single tool, product, piece of equipment that you see me using in the description of this video. I got you covered, my friend. Today we're using the Coat Handler Undercoat Control Deshedding Shampoo and Conditioner. I am also using a Prima bathing system. I'm a professional groomer. That is the bathing system that I use and have used for years. If you don't use a bathing system, you will take your time shampooing your dog and make sure you get this shampoo all the way into the skin through the coat. Take your time shampooing and conditioning your dog, especially for a deshed. Though my bathing system is saving me time and energy here, I am moving the shampoo all the way through to the skin. I need to be sure that it is getting through to the skin, or this undercoat's never going to come out of the coat. It's sticking in there. We have to clean the coat. I want to point out to you, if you are deshedding a dog without bathing and conditioning, you could never truly deshed your dog. So you may notice a lot of shedding after you use a shedding rake or a slicker brush if you didn't bathe your dog first. I'm here to help you understand you will never get this out without bathing, conditioning, brushing, and drying your dog. Now we're going to wash Penny's face. I like to use face safe shampoo on dogs just to be safe and sure. This is the Tropiclean Spa Facial. It is ideal for around the eyes, the mouth, sensitive areas, but it cleans very well. And I will link it for you guys. I want you to have the same successes as I do as a professional. And you may have noticed already, I am taking my time washing this dog. It is so important. Do not rush the shampoo and condition process. And this leads us to the next step. Now we have to overly rinse all that shampoo off of her. You do not want to leave shampoo in the coat before we move on to the condition. You have to get all the dirt, grime, oils, and product out of her coat first. Hey, now I know what you're thinking. I can read your mind right now. You're thinking, I could never do this at home. Even if I'm preparing my show dog, how do I rinse my dog so well? Because it's very important for the double-coated dog to be rinsed. You find yourself a pet wash station close by. Now let's add some magic to this deshed for Penny. Let's condition her coat. You have to condition it, guys. Absolutely. This conditioner is one of my favorites for a deshed because when it's diluted, according to the label, which is 16:1, 16 parts water, 1 part conditioner, it creates more like a rinse. But this stuff is so silky. It gets right in there and it allows, you can feel the hair starting to slide out. It literally makes the shedding hairs slide out of the coat, and we need that help right now. Her undercoat is really packed in there with all the healthy hair. Conditioner adds slip to the coat. That means it allows us to help slide out that undercoat. We need this conditioner. You cannot deshed a dog properly without conditioning first. I bet that got your attention. Wake up, my friend. Yes, I like to add a little more water every now and then just to keep the coat wet, good and wet, as I move around Penny and continue to work that conditioner through her skin and coat. Sometimes by the time I get to the other side of Penny, I've worked so hard on her right side that I may need to add a little more water into the coat before I apply that conditioner. You can feel it helping the product work. Now, when I say the conditioner is working here, I don't mean shampooing and conditioning the dog is all you need to do. Oh no, deshedding happens in the tub and it requires the use of tools. I'm going to show you right now why you can't go for a rake or like this V-rake right away, because the coat has not been worked yet with a slicker brush. So these tools are only going to tug on her skin. We have to slough out the shedded hair while the conditioner's on with a slicker brush first. Let me explain this to you. The slicker brush and its bristles are flexible. So it's flexing, yet it's grabbing the coat. It's flexing on the way out. Our stationary rakes or V-rakes, they're great tools, but they're not called for in this grooming session yet because they are not forgiving and they do not flex. We need flex from the slicker brush to grab and pull the dead coat out. And it's very important for you to remember when a dog's skin is wet, their skin is much more tender. So do not be aggressive. Let the brush do the work for you. Use the proper brushing technique, line brushing, holding the hair up while I pull it out with my slicker brush. That is line brushing. You have to hold the hair above the area you're brushing out of the way so that you can get to the skin, but do not be aggressive and poke at the skin. We're doing like a pat and pull. We're just patting it like you pat a dog on the top of their head. We're patting the hair, the coat, and the slicker brush is grabbing the dead coat and sliding it out with ease. But don't get me wrong, this is work. It truly is work, but you have to work it the right way. You have to be patient if you want to properly deshed a dog. So why am I still using the slicker brush here? I have not gone through her completely with a slicker brush yet. I just turned Penny so I can work on this side. I can't go for any other deshedding tools right now until I have gotten the absolute bulk and majority out of her undercoat with the slicker brush first. Look at it here. It is thick in there. You're only going to pull if you use a rake. You're going to pull on that skin. We don't want to do that. We want to encourage the hair that needs to come out to marry up with our slicker brush because it's just going to pull it right out. And after I'm not feeling much resistance of undercoat with my brush, I will go to that rotating teeth comb. I'm going to see how it feels. That's going to tell me if I'm not feeling a lot of resistance. And if I'm not feeling a lot of resistance, that means that I have got the bulk of the undercoat removed from that area. So I take this in sections. Notice I've gone back to the slicker brush because I was only checking an area with my rotating teeth comb to see if I could move on past that, if I'd already done the job in that area. Now I have a lot of undercoat under here, and this is a very sensitive area, so I have to be very delicate with Penny. But my rotating teeth comb has just a little bit of flex in it too, because those teeth rotate. They spin a 360. They're a little forgiving. I would prefer to use the rotating teeth comb in the tub over a regular standard dog grooming comb because the rotating teeth comb is a little flexible too, and I need flexible tools in the tub. You'll also start to notice that the coat lays a little flatter. When that happens, that means you have removed a lot of the undercoat. So I will not go for those rakes yet. It's coming. I'm going to show you when I do use them and why, but I'm not there yet. I have to get 98% of this undercoat out first with the brush. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So here I'm brushing. I'm going to go for that V-rake. And it's getting stuck. That means I'm only going to pull. I need that flexibility of my slicker brush here. It's not ready to go for a rake yet. But I do know that with patience and more work with my slicker brush, I'm almost there now. I can feel the brush sliding through and I cannot see the undercoat here anymore. And that's my cue to pick up the deshed rake. Just like my brushing technique, short, quick strokes. If I'm feeling a lot of resistance, then I know there's undercoat in there, and I can either gently hold onto her coat away from the skin so it's not pulling on the skin and pick through it, or I will have to go back to my slicker brush in an area. But this is sliding out what the slicker brush left behind. And if I'm feeling too much resistance or I'm seeing too much undercoat visually, I know I have to go back to the brush in that area. Brushing and raking in the lay of the coat, the way the coat lays off the dog. Why do we brush and rake in the direction the coat lays? Because if there's any undercoat in that hair follicle, you're trying to slide it out in the direction it naturally would come right out. Can you see that her coat is starting to lay flat against her body and it's not puffing out like it was earlier? The reason it was puffing out earlier was undercoat. The rake is now pulling out the remainder that the brush was not really able to get at. If I encounter an area that the rake is pulling, I know I need to go back to the brush and break it apart with the brush. These two tools work great together, but alone, they're not the superpower of the show. Together they are. Now don't forget, this dog is still wearing conditioner, right? We haven't rinsed it off. You need the conditioner to help deshed the dog. That is what allows this undercoat to slide out with ease. Otherwise, it's a battle. It's just a battle to try to get the undercoat out. The conditioner is important. So let's recap. We slicker brush until we have removed most of the undercoat. And we know this because we can feel no resistance with our brush. And once we don't feel resistance with our brush, we can go to the rake, like I'm using here. The rake is going to pull out a little more than what the brush could. And then we can also go back and forth with checking our work with the rotating teeth comb. If the rotating teeth comb is saying, hey, this feels great, I can glide through. If there's a little snag, you can hold on to the hair and just sort of pick it out with the rotating teeth comb. That's the process. Brush, rake, rotating teeth comb. And keep repeating that until you're not feeling resistance with the brush or the rake. You can slide the rotating teeth comb through and the coat lays flat. Look at the difference. Oh boy, you mean we gotta do this side too? Yes, see, I'm showing you right now what the rake will tell you. It's telling me here I need to brush. So you see, deshedding, my friends, truly is a process of techniques, tools, and methods. That's the only way to do it right. And when I say do it right, I mean to actually have gorgeous results, less shedding between grooms. That's right. If you do this process every 6 weeks at most, guys, on a shedding breed, 6 weeks, you will see that it should never become this big of a job. Your dog is a shedding breed and it will always shed, but if you use these tools, techniques, and methods and patience and take the time to do it right, you will not notice so much shedding laying around your house, on your furniture, on you. It will keep the undercoat in check. So we're kind of working around the dog, right? We've done the one side, we've done the back end, and now we're in the front and we're going to move down to her right side. I've slicker brushed this area. I'm running through it with the rake. I'm still getting hair out and the coat is laying flat. So that tells me that I can move on to the next area. How about that massive pile of undercoat? Doesn't that make you feel extremely satisfied? Because it does me. I literally love a deshed. I mean, if I could just do desheds at least one a day, it would make me feel so, oh Penny, don't get spicy, accomplished. If you're a groomer, put a deshed on your schedule at least once a day because it's a time where you just get to work and feel very much of a reset. It's a satisfying groom because you know how to approach it. You know the results you're going to get. And walking through the whole process is just so gratifying because you did it right and you're getting massive amounts of undercoat out without forcing it out and causing the dog to go into recovery mode, which is the dog's going to produce even more undercoat if we force it out. So we're only taking out what wants to come out. This all wanted to come out. And we said, hey, we hear you. you. We got you because we know what we're doing. And it is very satisfying. It is satisfying to the dog too. If you notice your double coated dog is itching and scratching, it's undercoat work that needs done. So how many pounds do you think Penny lost today? I'd say, well, that's wet hair, but I'd say at least a pound. Man, I wish I could go to the hairdresser and lose a pound. Now, don't get too excited. This is the first stage of the groom. Now we got to rinse that conditioner off, and I mean rinse. We are going to thoroughly rinse Penny. We want everything out of the coat because any product left in the coat will cause buildup later. We already know they've got undercoat. We don't need anything working against our double-coated dogs. So we need to thoroughly rinse. I start from the top and I rinse everything down so gravity moves down. When the water starts to run clear, that's when you know you're almost done rinsing. And I told you earlier that I really love this conditioner for Desheds, the Undercoat Control by Coat Handler. I love it for many reasons, but one of the other reasons is it rinses quickly from the coat. That's important to me as a groomer, and it also rinses without leaving residue behind. That means there is nothing but clean, conditioned, healthy skin and coat when it's time for drying. And yes, a well-balanced skin and coat will actually dry faster. A lot of people think conditioner weighs down the coat, slows down the drying process. That's not true. Balanced skin and coat will dry faster than dirty, grimy hair that wasn't properly shampooed or conditioned. When I first started grooming, there was no mention of conditioner, and it was not recommended because they said it's an extra step. It'll weigh down the coat. It makes the coat greasy. That's because conditioners, they weren't good products at the time. We have excellent products nowadays, my friends. And trust me, conditioner is a key player in every groom, not just for our double-coated breeds, for all breeds. I condition every dog, and what a difference it makes in all of my grooming sessions. By the way, if you've made it this far, I can tell you love learning as much as I love teaching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my free lessons. They're made for people who care about giving their dogs the best grooming experience possible. And go ahead and smash the like button. Thanks. Now we're friends. And I'm going to share with you a great drying secret. Penny's all rinsed. This is an absorber towel, and it has been a game changer for me since I started using them on every groom. But when we're talking about a double-coated dog that has a thick undercoat and a thick coat period, these towels absorb so much water out of the coat before we get to the forced drying process, which saves us time. Lots of time. There's a link in the description below where you can save 10% off of any order with the absorber towel. I suggest you definitely get a couple of them. They're machine washable. Do not dry them. Wring them out as you're toweling off your dog, and then continue on to towel off your dog. They're soft. They feel good. They've just been a game changer for me, and I'm very happy to introduce you to these, especially if you're working with a double coat. Towel drying before we get the dog up on the table is really important to this groom because we want to pull as much water out of her skin and coat as possible before we fire up that force dryer so we can really get to that undercoat. The force dryer is another star player in a deshed. If you have a double coated dog or a heavy shedding dog, you need to invest in a forced air dryer. I'm going to show you that there is still some loose and already shedded undercoat in Penny's coat right now. The forced air dryer is going to push it out. It is a key player. But first, we're going to brush again. I call this wet brushing. She's out of the tub. We've already done a lot of the deshed in the tub. But this step, again, is very important. And I am using the Kenchi large slicker brush. This slicker brush is great for double-coated breeds. Heavy, thick-coated shedding breeds. The reason is it has shorter bristles and it really grabs into the coat, but not in an aggressive way. It's just the perfect pair for an undercoat, especially at this point when we're out on the table. This brush doesn't have the flex that the tub brush I used has. So this brush is going to be a little bit more like, hey, undercoat, I see you and I'm coming for you, but I'm just a firm and gentle brush. But at this point in the groom, we have really removed most all of the undercoat, but there's still that last 5 to 10% that needs to come out. Quicker Slicker is definitely going to help us with that. Remember how I explained that the conditioner was so important when we were deshedding in the tub? Well, now that we're back out on the table, I've removed all the excess water from her with my absorber towel. Now I need to add more slip into the coat, and that's with Quicker Slicker. This one I like because I've used it so much and I know that it leaves no residue behind, but it aids so well in the brush out process and with removing undercoat. It is a bit pricey and it can also be kind of hard to find. Not everybody carries it. So I'll try to find a link for you guys, and I will also link a couple of my other favorite brush out sprays that you could use at this point or just during routine brush outs with your dog. I'll link those for you below. Now, do you see why I'm doing this second wet brush? You can see what I'm getting out of her. The Quicker Slicker or brush out spray, a brush out spray is definitely going to help with this process, but there's still a lot of undercoat that's just hanging in there. And if I didn't do this second wet brush out while she's on the table here after she exited the tub, a lot of that could become tangled when I go to the force dryer. So that's why I'm removing it, and I suggest you guys do too. I'll show you in a minute what I mean with the force dryer. But first we're going to clean the ears and clip the nails. You may be asking, but Amy, does it matter when I clean the ears or clip the nails? Well, it does to me, and I'm going to tell you why. After the dog gets out of the tub, there could have possibly been a little bit of water that got in her ears, which if she has healthy ears, it's not going to matter. But I don't know if something's brewing down in those ears. I can't see down in there. So it's important to clean the ears after the bath just to give them that flush in case any water has gotten in there through the bathing process. That's all. Plus, she's still wet. So I don't want to put wet solution on a dry dog, right? So while she's wet, I clean the ears. I only go in as far as I can see, and I love the Bark to Basics ear cleaner. Good job. Let's trim the nails. And I always do that after the bath too. Why? Because the nails are less brittle, because they have been moisturized basically in the tub with the shampoo and conditioner and the water. They're not going to be brittle, dry, crack easily, that kind of thing. And lean in on this. Not every nail is going to need trimmed. As you can see, this one, she has it wore down. It is simply because of the way she walks, the way she shifts her weight when she's moving. Some nails are not going to need trimmed. If you're not sure about nail trimming, or if you need a little extra help with nail trimming, I have many videos on my channel that go into deep information up close and personal, how to trim dog nails safely, accurately, regardless of whether they're clear nails or black nails. So I'll link them for you below. It's happy hoodie time. It's happy hoodie. What's a happy hoodie? A happy hoodie gives her a little comfort when we get ready to do that forced air drying. It also protects her hearing. I am using a K9-3 forced air dryer on single speed right now. With forced drying, this is how far you hold the nozzle away from the dog's skin. However long the hair is how far away you hold the nozzle. That's very important. Otherwise, you're going to tangle the hair. And because this is a dog with undercoat, and we know that she still has some undercoat in there, the undercoat could become tangled under the top coat. So, you know, this is important. You want the speed of the dryer to be high enough that when you hold the nozzle as far away from the dog's skin as the dog's hair is long, the speed of the dryer needs to be turned up enough that you can see all the way through to the skin. Just like this. You want to see that force dryer below the hair out of the way far enough that you see to the skin. And the reason that's very important is because we are using this force dryer to continue to blow the remaining undercoat out of this dog's coat. We can't just willy-nilly go over her with this force dryer. It is strategic, guys. This force dryer is playing a key role in the deshed of this dog. So, again, Keep the nozzle as far away from the skin as the hair is long, and turn the air up enough that you can see a straight hole shot right into the skin. When you follow these instructions with force drying, you won't tangle the coat, you will get accurate drying, but most of all on a double coat, you're going to blow out the rest of the remaining undercoat without tangling it back into the hair. Very important. This is the method. So you learned something today. And that rule goes for not just double coated dogs. Any dog you use a force dryer on, this is the method. That is the method that you must remember. Now, I already know what your next question is. How dry does the dog need to be? 100% dry, especially on a Deshed. Now, I shouldn't say especially, on any dog breed that you are preparing for clipper work or scissor work. In this case, this is a Deshed. A Deshed can't completely happen unless the dog is 100% dry, no moisture in that coat. And I will be going back over her after I force dry her with a stand dryer, a heated dryer, to pull out the moisture. Speaking of warm dryers, I have just traded in my $800 stand dryer for this awesome neck dryer that is $200. And if you shop it with my link, you'll get a discount. This dryer can take the place of a stand dryer, and I proved it in a video. Now let's get back to Penny. I cannot 100% deshed this dog without having her coat 100% dry. Why? Because any dampness or moisture in the coat, undercoat that may still be in the coat, will cling to it. It has to be bone dry for the forced air dryer to completely blow out all the undercoat. Now let's get that stand dryer warmed up. Penny is not going to tolerate the force dryer around her ears or her face, and most dogs don't. Sometimes you can turn it way down low, but this particular dryer only has a low and a high speed, and even the low speed's pretty powerful. I have already kicked up the force dryer to high. The stand dryer is going to come in handy here to help me dry the ears around her ruff and her face. These are areas she's not going to tolerate a stand dryer, and that's okay. That's why we have other dryer sources. But you'll notice that I picked up that V-rake. Remember I showed it to you? I used it a little bit in the tub, but it's very handy here. At this point in the deshed process with Penny, she is 98% dry on her body, really. You know, we're drying her head, so we're not there yet on the head, but with her being 98% dry, anything that's left in there, and you can see it, we can just flick it out with the V-rake. You could also use a pin brush, and sometimes I do. I just like how easy to handle this little V-rake is. You can be so accurate with, you know, getting in there and pulling out any remaining undercoat that you see just hanging in the top coat. And it literally is just hanging there. We're flicking it out with this V-rake. So it's a very handy tool, inexpensive tool, and it's nice to have around. So if you want the V-rake, it'll be linked below. It's great for helping out with our double coated breeds. So you're thinking, what am I doing at this point? She looks dry, right? Well, she is mostly dry for the most part, but I just keep slowly taking my time, working around her, using the force dryer to separate the hair so I can see the skin, so I can see any undercoat that's still stuck in and intertwined with other coat, and gently just picking it out. At this point, it just wants to fall right out. We've conditioned her, she's bathed. We've used Quicker Slicker, which is helping us a lot in the drying process to brush through this. I am just at this point making her coat absolutely perfect. It is going to bounce like a cloud when she walks. The undercoat that's in this coat at this point is good undercoat. It's undercoat that she needs. Their undercoat has a purpose. It's like the oil filter in your engine, right? Well, it's filtering her skin. It also helps regulate her body temperature, which is another reason why it's very important not to use harsh deshedding tools. Tools that can cut through the coat. Tools that can pull good undercoat out. She needs her undercoat. So now you see I've gone back to my Kenchi large slicker brush, because now I'm kind of fluffing around her head, around her ears as that stand dryer's on her. But I'm also going through and I'm checking everything and brushing. I'm still going to to get hair in the brush. She's a double-coated dog, and it's never going to stop. As you can see, that's normal. All these tools are pulling only what's ready to come out. Knowing when to switch between tools, the V-rake, the comb, the slicker brush, is very important. You see, I went back to the slicker brush, which is what I started with, and now I'm really just finishing off what needs to come out. Because her coat is dry, the slicker brush can now say, all right, whatever's in there wants to come out, ready or not, here you come. The last thing I like to do is the slicker brush after she's dry, just to pull that last bit out, because remember, it does grab a hold of the coat. If you're wondering why you brush your dog every day, your double-coated dog every day, even a Sheltie, obviously, they have a lot of undercoat. You're wondering why, when I brush her all the time, does she still shed so much all over me, all over my house? Well, first of all, she is a shedding breed, so she will always shed. I do want you to understand, if you pay attention to how I am de-shedding this dog safely, meaning I'm not going to cause her to produce more undercoat because I'm removing so much of her undercoat. The methods I'm using here, this is very important, guys. Bring it in. Get close. The methods I'm using here will only take out what has already shed or is just ready to release. That is the only thing that's going to come out. So this is the healthiest deshed you can get. But the key to it is the bath and the condition and the blow dry. That loosens everything up. As you saw, I get the majority of the undercoat out in the tub. Now you ready for a close look at that line brushing I was talking about? See how I'm holding her hair up? I'm pulling it out with my brush, moving my hand above it slowly. That's line brushing. Now we're going to grab our comb. We're going to check and see, does the comb go through it? No, well, it's snagging. That means there's something that needs brushed out there. Your comb is just to check your work during the deshed. Now before I show you the finished penny, how about I show you what's coming in the next video? Removing mats from behind the ears. All the scissor finishing work is coming in the next video to this. We're going to do a sanitary trim. You're going to learn how to properly shape and shave the feet. All the scissor work that's involved here. That is all in the next video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you really should, because you're not going to want to miss any of these lessons. That second video picks up where this video left off. We took care of the coat prep in this video, which was extremely important. If we didn't prepare the coat the way we did in this video, we wouldn't be able to get this beautiful trim that I'm going to show you in the second video. So all the scissor work, clipper work, finishing work, all the details to bring this groom together professionally is in that next video, and it's coming for you soon. But if you want to watch a full video on preparing this Sheltie and trimming her in one video, I will link that in the card at the end of this video, so you can just click on it and watch the full hour-long workshop tutorial of grooming this Sheltie. But here's what I'm suggesting to you, to definitely save this video in your playlist. Why? Why would you do that? Because this de-shedding video and the next video, which is how to trim a double coat. We don't clip a double coat, we trim it, and we only trim what we have to. But the reason you need to save this video and those videos in a playlist is because these techniques can be applied to any double coated dog. This same trim, the same de-shedding practices can all be applied to an American Eskimo, a Keeshond, a Pomeranian, a Bernese Mountain Dog, a Golden Retriever. These are all dogs we groom all the time. We groom these breeds all the time. The reason I took my time and put so much effort into this video and the complete workshop video is because I want you to use it as a reference. It is so detailed, and it will cover any deshed that you have and how to trim it, what to scissor, what not to scissor, right? That's a big thing. These videos will help you. This covers all our typical desheds, Samoyeds, all of it. This is how you do it. So keep these videos in your playlist, save them, because they are going to save you.